I'm going to edit this first part out, but we're recording the live podcast. This is our episode 92 of the FOMOcast for those watching live on Twitch. For those of you on YouTube, thank you. I upload these straight for the most part, just as the Twitch setup is. I cut off the end usually because it's a little easier. I do like this format of recording though because it's easier to. I can just hit stop recording and keep going on Twitch. I don't care if it goes on Twitch or YouTube, but podcast they want you to stick to the script, go to the certain way.
No standards for YouTube. Huh?
No standards for YouTube.
But we go up raw on there. Huh?
Exactly. So we'll start it right. I'll point like this here. Hello and welcome to episode 92 of the FOMOcast. I'm here with Andrew. No Titus, he's in class because he's a good boy. I really enjoyed working with the new programs that I got for this setup. A lot of that pulls the audio out of the video, so I'm not having to record on two different streams. It's just fantastic. We're streaming live on Twitch right now. If you search FOMOcast on Twitch, we're here. We're live. Whenever we go live, it's us live recording. Nothing. You can see Andrew eating his gummy worms. You can see his big gulp right here. If you go to YouTube, you can see it too. But
that's really all the people tune in for.
You eating gummy worms?
Yeah.
But
that's my new YouTube channel, by the way.
Eating gummy worms.
I'll come up with a
it's
clever
name.
It's
an ASMR eating gummy worms only, trying different kinds.
See,
you know what?
That
would probably be a good way for you to. So you can hear that.
Can you hear the worm in my mouth?
I don't think people want to hear that on this podcast. Yeah, you can hear chewing. You can hear it chewing. They have channels legitimately that are like people they do it one time, they review a candy they love, or they tell people, hey, this candy's bomb. Everyone try it. Next thing you know, they're sending them all the flavors and all that kind of stuff like that. So I'm trying to think of a
so
candy.
I can get some free gummy worms.
I love gummy worms. Gummy bears. The ones I started liking, they had one, I can't remember the brand name. It was like a cheap brand name, but they had they're like Gushers, but they're gummy bears. So
I never heard of them.
And they were cheap. So I was like, hey, I'll get them in the liquor store. They're perfect. But if you want to send us gummy bears, any kind of candy, hit us up. Let us know because free candy is the best kind of candy.
In a sealed
package, not anything homemade, nothing with bugs in it.
I made it with tears.
But this is episode 92. Make sure to go to all of our social media platforms besides Twitch. Go to youtube.com/FOMOcast or search FOMOcast. We're on there. Go to facebook.com/FOMOcast, Twitter, FOMO_cast, FOMO Podcast on Instagram. Make sure to go to the Podbros Network, podbros.com. Check them out. They got all these amazing podcasts there that are up there forever, basically. So ours aren't up there right now because I'm getting lazy and I haven't changed or I update my own. We update our own stuff on there. So I haven't updated it in a little bit. So I'm going to have to do that. I don't know what's wrong with these levels. I think this being out here is not good.
What being out here?
This box. I leave it out here. I need to start packing it up. But yes, podbros.com. Check them out. Give them some love. Give them some likes. They're fantastic. So let's talk about the text message I got today from Andrew in our group chat with Titus. Like, dude, did the Jay and Silent Bob trailer just come out today? And I'm like, no, it came out a long time ago. And he's like, well, I just saw it. So how did you feel after that shock? How did you feel about the trailer?
It's cool seeing a lot of the, they try to bring back all the Easter eggs.
It's nostalgia. It's 100% nostalgia.
Exactly. From 18 years ago, I think. Was it 2001? The last one?
It was close to it because Dogma.
I think it was 2001.
Dogma is at 20 years. Because I listened to a podcast with Kevin Smith talking about how he can't release 20th anniversary edition because he doesn't own the rights to Dogma. So
2001 doesn't feel like 18 years ago. It doesn't sound right.
No, it feels like 2020 is further away than 2001, honestly. That's what it feels like.
That one does sound weird. I think it was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So, seeing all the...
For those of you on Twitch, that's my dog in the background, Maggie barking.
They bring back a lot of the characters.
Well, it's cool. Did you hear how they got Ben Affleck back into it?
No.
So
they're friends, right?
Well, so something happened with them. There was a falling out or something. They didn't talk to each other for a long time. And I think part of it was like, Kevin Smith's like, well, I'm not going to bother him. He's a movie star now. You know what I mean? He's a smart guy. he's like, my movies are not for people. Like, he has, like, the legit ones he stayed friends with, like,
Well, Matt Damon's in it too, right?
Matt Damon. He stayed kind of close with Matt Damon, but, like, all of the, like, second level famous people,
Okay.
like, there's, I'm not going to say who else is in it, because there's another person in that. I guess it's like a surprise I found out about. But, yeah, he got Matt Damon because he's like, his wife's like, just text him. He's like, I got 5 numbers. She's like, try them. And so she tried the first one, and it was him. And he goes, we texted for a long time. And then he goes, they're like, it was like we never stopped being friends, kind of thing. So that was really cool having him back in it. I mean,
Ben
there's a
Affleck
ton.
changed his number.
No, he didn't.
No,
That's shocker.
Well, then I wonder why he's not texting me back.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one. But so how did you feel? So you like the nostalgia?
Yeah. But it's been so long since I saw the last. I need to rewatch it.
But
I think it's on Netflix right now.
it makes me feel better about watching it too. Wanting to watch it is because after watching Super Troopers 2, and I think there's 2 routes you can go with a movie like Super Troopers 2 or Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. You can go we'll throw them with the same kind of humor with a little bit of new stuff, or we'll throw in the same kind of humor with a bunch of new stuff that's just like a different approach. Which I love Super Troopers 2. It was a fantastic movie. I loved it. Some people didn't like it because they felt like it was just the same rehashed stuff in a different scenario.
Yeah.
Which I think personally, it was a little. I think it was a little more fun for me because they only brought back a couple people besides the main crew. So that made me happy, because they got like Tyler Labine. I love that guy. Is it Tyler Labine? I think his name is. He was on that Sons of Tucson, and he's on The Resident now. Man.
The Jay and Silent Bob is, I think it's almost the exact same story, isn't it? That they're making another reboot in Hollywood and they have to go stop the movie again.
Yes.
It's almost but I think they're doing it in a funny way.
Yeah.
Where the whole joke is they're rebooting that movie.
Tyler Labine.
How do you recognize him like that?
Yeah.
Was he one of the main guys in Super Troopers?
No, he's in the second one.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I'm saying is they brought in like new
people.
characters that are funny comedic actors.
Yeah.
So, well, fingers crossed for Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Kevin Smith, love you, love your work. Excited for he announced Clerks 3.
Is he watching?
Who knows? You never know, man. There's this new thing going on after this, but yeah,
Hey,
Clerks 3 got announced. There's a new thing going on where celebrities are tweeting out like it's an actual number that goes to them, but I want to know what the catch is.
Or like an alternate phone number?
But it goes to them, so
Like a burner phone?
something because it's Chris D'Elia is the number I got on there. Yeah.
What's that?
It's so basically you go to his Twitter and he's like, I dare you to say it to my face.
Who?
Chris D'Elia.
I don't know who that is.
He's a comedian. He's hilarious.
Okay.
He was on Whitney. You
Well, I
remember
would hope so if
remember
he's
that
a
show
comedian.
Whitney?
No.
Okay, so he's a really funny dude. He calls people who are like follow the crowd, not sheep. He calls them cudas because they're barracudas. Because barracudas get fascinated by shiny lights and stuff like that. Well, if you went to his Twitter, his former partner in the show, Whitney Cummings, did the same thing. And so basically, I'll tell you what he tweeted. It says, what the heck is this? Why is that old one popping up? I'm not sorry for any of the jokes I've ever made in my life. Text me directly or you ain't blank. And it says m.community / Chris D'Elia. I'll just try texting it right now.
And this is supposedly getting texted straight to this guy?
Supposedly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand what the point is.
Yeah, neither do I.
So my thinking is what it does is you follow them on Twitter and then you sign up for this thing. And they probably sign it up for a week, 2 weeks. So if you got 1 million followers, let's say 500,000 of them sign up. Well, then all of a sudden you just blast a mass text that says, hey, Chris is performing in your area. You know what I mean? which I'm fine with that. I think it's a cool idea because you never think about because a lot of these comedians that are like not underground, but they're not like mainstream.
We're talking B-listers.
Not even B-listers.
C-listers.
Something like that. What happens is they go do their thing, and they're usually performing 3 shows here, 3 shows there, bouncing around. And now with like the Gallo Center, they're bringing in people that are like sketch people now. Like you know that was it that Cholo Fit? That video of that dude, he wears like a bandana and he talks like a cholo. He wears like saggy shorts and a wife beater. Well, he's a comedian. He's a comedian, and he's like, he acts like a gangster. He's not. He's just a joke, but he'll like bump into someone's chest and like that's the workout. Well, they had him at the Gallo Center because he's a good comedian. But it's
wait. Oh, I thought you were saying sketch people like.
No, not like that. Like they actually do sketches.
Okay.
Like they do a persona.
I was thinking like sketchy,
kind of like Larry the Cable Guy. This is like the new versions of Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
Because if you hear Larry the Cable Guy talk without his accent,
right,
he doesn't have an accent.
Yeah.
I think he's from Florida or something like that. It's a character.
Yeah.
So when he talks, he talks like a normal person for the most part. So that's what these guys are doing now. So with this ever expanding, these poor real comedians that like they never had to do a persona. They just tell jokes, which I have nothing wrong with. Excuse me, the people that do the sketches, but it's an added thing to their repertoire. So if they catch on, all of a sudden they're booking everything. So usually what ends up happening is you miss your person who's coming in on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And one thing I do like is I like Creed Bratton from The Office.
Yeah.
So he plays music. I actually got one of his old albums from the thrift store, the Grassroots, for their first album. And so he performs the grassroots music to some comedy songs. Well, if you go to his website, this is the coolest thing. You can download his schedule. So on my Apple Calendar, it has all of his schedule. So I know if he's going to come near me or it pops up and whatever, so I'm not worried about it. And it's just cool. And I texted, ain't nothing coming back. It was probably a gimmick to get my number. So we'll see what happens. It's 5:27 when I texted him. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Let us know. Have you done it with anyone? Any other platform?
Have you done it with anyone?
Like if you sent a text like that or tried the thing of so-and-so at gmail.com. Because I heard a producer for a podcast say when he's booking people, the surprising number of people are their name at gmail.com. So, I mean, they tell you when you have a kid, you're supposed to get their name on Gmail first.
What do you mean you should get it? Like it's a good idea to get it, or like you have the right to it?
No, you should. It's a good idea when they're born. There's like
set up their account,
dude. There's a thing to set up their
at birth.
Legit. There was a social media thing I saw where it said you do email, Instagram, and Facebook.
Are you saying that life begins at
web
verification?
It's a thing. Legitimately though, dude, I've heard that if you ever wanted to set your kid up, whatever they want to do, I don't care. Whatever my son wants to do, I'm going to support him. But they say that because this new trend with Hollywood, where like Kevin Smith even said when he was casting, he was doing something. He was a consultant for a movie or something that they were handing out headshots, and the headshots on the bottom of them had their Twitter followers, their Instagram followers, and their Facebook page followers. And they literally cast somebody who had less experience but more followers because they knew if they have let's say this person has 2 million, that person has 500,000. If they're making a movie, a significant portion of that 2 million are going to go watch that movie. If they're true followers of that person. You know what I mean?
Did you set up an email account for your son?
No.
No?
No, I didn't do any of that. I'm lazy.
Oh.
I'll forget the password and stuff before it's too long.
Someone's gonna jump on that.
But I've always thought about it. But the problem is too, though, is that a lot of times if they go inactive after so long, they usually put the kibosh on it, and you can't use it anymore. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, tell us Facebook.com/FOMOcast, Twitter FOMO_cast.
If you set up
an
email
FOMO
for your
podcast
child
on
birth.
Instagram, comment on Twitch, comment on our YouTube, like and subscribe, do all that good stuff when you go do that. So, did you ever watch the movie Chicken Run?
I did. Was that the Mel Gibson?
The cartoon chickens.
It's animated like a Wallace and
Claymation.
Gromit, right?
Yes, yes.
It was Mel Gibson, right?
I think so. I think wasn't that like right? It was right before or right after he had all the problems with people. Yeah, Mel
During,
Gibson.
I think.
Oh no! It was really a long time ago. This is 2000. Yeah, I remember.
That sounds right.
I thought it was creepy. Um, yeah, they're doing a chicken run too.
I think if you were a fan of Wallace and Gromit, you were okay with the style of it, which I was. So I don't know. It was all right.
Would you watch number two?
I would wait for it to be free. I wouldn't rush out and see it, but I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd catch it on the
I
old
forgot to bring it up
HBO Go.
because Wallace and Gromit was a big one, especially, and I believe didn't one of them pass away recently?
What, Nick Park?
Someone from
The
Wallace
creator?
and
Or
Gromit
one
passed
of the,
away.
like, voice actors.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I hadn't
because
heard.
I remember it was a big thing because I believe over in Britain they did like they weren't just like they're Wallace and Gromit, but they do other stuff like they do
See, I didn't know they were
commercials
big.
and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
didn't know
that.
they were big personalities like that.
Yeah, so it's a British stop motion. So Bob Baker, let's see, he's still alive. Nick Park, still alive. Steve Box, still alive. Looks like Mark Burton. What the hell? Why do they do that? That's weird. They do a thing where it's like, um, it says, okay, so Peter John Salas. So he voiced Wallace into 2017 when he died. And then, so Ben Whitehead is another gentleman who.
So it's gonna be.
So
a new
Peter
voice
Wallace
actor.
retired. So, well, no, but I don't know, like, because a lot of times when they do the movie like Chicken Run, they kind of have like it's kind of tied together, like, 'cause it's a similar animation. It looks exactly the same. The mouths look the same. Everything looks the same. So there's probably people tied into it. I wasn't sure if it would be someone
You got
important.
my
but
man Mel Gibson coming back.
no. So then we had. Did you watch that show? That show You on Netflix?
No. You?
Yeah, You.
Y-O-U?
Yeah.
No.
It was creepy, really creepy. Well, season 2 drops, supposedly rumored to be dropping December 30th. So basically, here's a little bit of spoilers. It came out into last year. So basically, it's about a dude who owns a bookstore, and he's obsessing over this woman who came into the bookstore. And basically, he's a stalker. He makes it to where he gets positioned into her life, and basically, horrible things happen all around him.
Is this the Brenda Song? Is that her name? Is it that one?
No. I know that one. I watched that one too.
That's another like stock.
That was a movie though.
Oh.
This is a
okay,
TV show.
Okay, I got you.
That one is that one's creepy too.
That one, she like gets amnesia, right? And he pretends he was her husband. And...
Spoiler alert.
No, that's in the trailer. I've never seen it.
So basically,
Not the trailer.
yes. Basically, he pretends to be her husband,
Yeah.
and she got
That's
she
all
was in a
given
car
away.
wreck. Yeah. So yeah. So You season 2 is supposed to come out December 30th. I'm gonna save that one for last. Kingsman 3 is written already.
Man, the second one went downhill for me.
You don't like it?
I won't say
so
that.
for me
but
personally,
I think it's on its way out.
For me personally, I really enjoyed how they. Well, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the second one. Brought what's his face back because it kind of it was a cool. I wouldn't say twist, but it was kind of like a. Okay, that's more plausible than any kind of person coming back to life. You know what I mean?
I don't remember what happened.
So, he ends up where he gets shot. Whatever, the glasses slow down the bullet enough to where he just lost his eye. That's what happened. He didn't. So, but it caused a trauma to his brain. So he basically, because the glasses are super whatever strength, James Bondish type glasses. So he gets shot in the head, and Eggsy thinks that he's dead.
The Colin Firth character.
Yes.
Okay.
I like how they brought him back. That made a lot of sense.
I do remember now. Okay.
And then I also like it too because all these dudes brought their wives to see Channing Tatum, and he was only in it for like 10 minutes.
Now, I just made a connection. This is going to sound stupid for other people who probably noticed this a long time ago. Elton John was in the second one,
right?
and that is
Yeah.
what's the actor's name?
Taron, was it? What's his name? Oh, there go the
Who
dogs.
portrayed Elton John in Rocket
Yeah,
Man? And I didn't
yeah,
even realize he spent all that time with him
yeah. I don't know
on
how long he was
Kingsman
actually
2.
there, but I know that.
Well, they've had history together.
Oh, they have. Oh,
Well, because of Kingsman,
I
right?
bet you. I bet you he saw him. So Taron Egerton.
Okay.
That's why I think it's funny because they call him Eggsy in the show. That's why I always get confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, Egerton has to be his name in the show. No, in the movie. But yeah, no, that's probably where they met. Probably.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think too. A lot of those British actors, they're friends with a lot of different people in the industry, and it kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's if it's like they, you know, like here, people always get shocked, like, oh, so and so is friends with so and so, and I'm like, that's not shocking. When you're a certain level of a person, you have to make friends with those people because you can't trust anyone that's, you know, not in that same level as you.
A normie.
You kind of. I mean, a lot of famous people have normal friends, but it's really hard. Like was it Drake says, no new friends. You know, there's too much risk. You know, everyone's like, oh, I'll go to a party at Justin Bieber's house. Yeah, so you can sign all those NDAs. That's super awesome to go to someone's party and not be able to talk about it, take pictures, do anything. It's stupid.
That's why I don't respond to any of our listeners. It's just beneath me. At this level of celebrity, you just can't
shoot.
expose yourself to that kind of. No, everyone, wait! Please come back. Turn it back on.
Did you see who they cast as Catwoman?
No,
Zoe Kravitz.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Zoe Kravitz is?
No.
Oh, that was bad. She was on the HBO.
Haven't seen it.
What's that show called?
Game of Thrones.
No, not Game of Thrones. When you look her up, it's Lenny Kravitz's daughter, Zoe Kravitz. You'll know her.
She does look familiar.
She was in.
Game of Thrones.
No, it's called. What isn't her name?
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. Yep.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
You never heard of Big Little Lies?
No.
It's pretty good. Reese Witherspoon. There's a bunch of people in it. I'm trying to think who else is in it too. Meryl Streep's in it this year, I believe. But I'm super excited because she fits Catwoman perfectly. She's got like that attitude. She's got the look. She's got everything you could think of in Catwoman. So, Jason Momoa actually congratulated her. He's like, "Oh, you know, so proud." That's his stepdaughter, which is kind of weird.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
How?
because he married Lisa Bonet,
Who is?
ex-wife of Lenny Kravitz, or ex of Lenny Kravitz.
This is wild.
Yeah.
The Hollywood relationships, the family trees are just crazy.
The creepiest story I ever heard was when Jason Momoa was a kid. He pointed at the TV when they were watching Cosby Show and said, "Mama, that's gonna be mine," and he was pointing at her. So he's been pretty much gunning for her. But yeah, she's the new Catwoman for the Batman. I'm super excited because they're casting a lot of great people for it, and I'm really hopeful it's gonna be.
Is it just me,
shock
or is she
people.
a young Halle Berry, who also played Catwoman?
Yes.
Is this a type character? Did the character look like that in the comics?
Slender, seems somewhat agile. I mean,
I just think it's weird that they got two. I don't know, women who look very similar. I
mean,
think,
yeah, I mean,
to
it's
play
one
the
of
same
those.
character.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I think that's what I heard. What was I listening to? Yeah, you know who Cedric Yarborough is?
No.
Reno 911.
Who?
He was the big black cop.
Oh, okay.
So he's hilarious, and he was laughing because he's like, I want to be so known or famous in acting that I'm not having to go to auditions. They're like, oh, we found this role for you, and I think that's what happens is they're looking at the characters because as you seen now, like especially with Facebook, you look on Facebook and they're like, oh, this person would be great as that character. Oh, great, look, they're that character now. It's like what's going on? You know what I mean? It's almost like they're writing these characters, kind of like who was it? How they did was it Marty McFly in Back to the Future was written for I want to say it was Tom Cruise or somebody. I can't remember who it was. But the roles are written. You can tell now, a lot of these movies. That's why I think everyone's bashing the Batman. Please don't bash the Batman because they don't like the casting of Robert Pattinson. But I've seen him in some serious roles that are not Twilight, and he's a really, really good actor. So I'm hopeful. It's the same thing that happened with Daniel Radcliffe. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's horrible," but he was in that Swiss Army Man, and he was hilarious in
I thought
that.
you were gonna say he was in Harry Potter.
No, but they said that he's gonna be typecast. He's gonna be ruined. He was in that, I think, one called Horn too, where he kept growing horns.
Yeah.
So
I think there are some actors where you know them so well from one role that it's hard to take them out of that role.
which is I think why a lot of people leave shows. That's why I think Steve Carell left The Office because he didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? He said, "My time's up. I'm gonna go."
He still is though.
But now he's doing well. He did that. Welcome.
He's
he
trying to do.
He did that.
some weird
Welcome to Marwen,
yeah.
which apparently was a movie before, I guess.
It's a documentary. I know that.
So, yeah. So let us know how you feel about your celebrities and whether you see them in. Go to our social medias. I'll drop it on the end, but make sure Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, hello Twitch, everything like that. So did you ever watch the show Lucifer?
No.
Okay, so really good show. I actually really liked it. The guy, his name's Tom Ellis, who played Lucifer.
Someone who's using my Hulu account is watching it though.
Do you want to drop names about who it is? Oh, you don't know?
I don't know which one.
Okay. But it's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, oh, hey, I was watching it and I'm like, okay, it's a good show. It's not one of the ones it's not like Mayans. Like I'm going to watch Mayans tonight. Like I always do. I watch it a day or two later. Well, he's been spotted on the Crisis of Infinite Earth set wearing the Lucifer costume. So they're going all out. They got the original Flash. They got Tom Wellington, who played Superman on Smallville.
Okay.
They got the girl that played Lois Lane from Smallville, I believe. They got all these characters coming from all these different things. They're sending the show off with a bang. And then the rumor is the new set photo, they have a Batman's mask with an arrow through it. So I'm super excited about that too. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't want them to release this and all of a sudden be like, oh, we're starting a Batman to overshadow Batwoman, or Batgirl. I think that's going to be a good show to start on its own with Ruby Rose. So fingers crossed.
So does that mean Green Arrow killed him?
No, it's this weird thingy like you see in the comics. It's almost like either someone's hanging up the cowl or something like that. Like they'll take an arrow and jam it through it, kind of thing. So it's on a post or whatever. So
like a symbol.
Like a symbol or something like that. So, or it could be them wanting him to come back. I don't know. All I know is I haven't watched that show in forever. It was kind of cheesy to me when I first started watching it, but now I'm kind of like, hey, if I can, I'm gonna watch it because I want to see what's going on with this. Before we finish the big news, how did you feel about that Jungle Cruise trailer? So for those that don't know, if you haven't watched it yet, they legitimately, I liked the concept for the trailer. If you haven't been on the ride, that's how the ride is. The bride is basically like a cheap cruise you get on. The skipper is like its first day, and he's like, oh, keep your hands and arms inside. Those that are left outside, they make little jokes about being a cheap cruise. And on the trailer, they're playing all of that in at the very beginning. I have a feeling it's not going to play any role in it at all. It's going to be the first 20 minutes to bring in the people from the ride.
Just a little nod to
right.
the ride.
But I liked the way he did it because it wasn't like a jam it in your face. It was literally him trying to make money on a cheap cruise. So Emily Blunt looks good in it. The Rock looks good in it. I don't know who else is in it because it didn't show really anybody else besides them too.
Man, it feels like every other Dwayne Johnson movie.
It's going to be. All I kept thinking about, here's the crazy part.
So.
We were over at my in-laws and we were watching, San Andreas. We were watching San Andreas. And it was on TV. And the wife looks at me and goes, is he driving that boat up that tsunami? And I go, yeah. And when they were turning around on the waterfall, all I kept seeing was the way he was turning. I just kept visioning him on that speedboat on San Andreas. So there's gonna come a point where you're gonna watch San Andreas, Rampage, Skyscraper, and literally it's gonna all start blending into one movie.
They
You're
already
not gonna,
have. They're all so interchangeable. He doesn't act any different.
did you watch? So I do like the one when they on was it Fast 7? I think it was the last one that came out, or Fast 8? No, Fast 8.
Is that the one where they fight a
Fate
submarine
of the Furious,
with cars?
right? But his comedic, because that's the thing is like Jason Statham. That's why I think they've made the Hobbs and Shaw, because Jason Statham is a serious actor who can make jokes like and keep a straight face. He's not like a Kevin Hart crack joke laugh, but when he says my favorite part of that movie is when he's looking at him, they're fighting through the cells in Fast 8. He goes, "I'm gonna beat you like a Cherokee drum," and the way he just looks at him and he says it straight face. I could never say straight face to anybody. You know what I mean? Like it's just like he's the way they're just throwing stuff back and forth. The problem is that gets him typecast. I watched him on the when I was on the plane when he did that spy one with Kevin Hart.
As Central Intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a couple of them where I'm just kind of like, okay, I get it. Whereas Jason Statham, he knows his niche. He knows he's not going to
It's
freaking...
niche, right?
I don't know. He knows his market. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he knows his market, so he's kind of like, hey, look, I'm going to be the action guy who can drive cars and who's good with weapons. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try and be Vin Diesel in The Pacifier. Don't ever do that again. And try and be the secret agent, blah, 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 blah. That's why he did... That's the funny part. Vin Diesel wasn't in anything until Tokyo Drift because he didn't do sequels, is what he said.
Now, best Jason Statham ever. Italian Job.
Oh, yeah.
He's supposed to be trying to win over that woman, I think, to get her name tag.
Yes.
And she says, "Can I give you my number?" I think is how it goes. And he, this is gonna be a terrible Jason Statham. She says, "Can I give you my number?" And he goes, "If it's on the menu."
Well, I mean,
that's a favorite line from him ever.
he's really funny because, like, I love his repertoire. When he talks to the French police officer in the Transporter movies, they've always had this good rapport where it's like they know how to riff and they know how to joke. It's really fun. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. The Rock, good luck to you. We'll see. And the last thing we have, Deadpool. The next Deadpool movie has gotten authority to be rated R, and it also is going to be Ryan Reynolds will be in Deadpool 3. And right now what they're doing is they're actually working on the details between Marvel and Disney because there's some sort of, I don't know, it's weird. I can't explain it. It's
So is it filmed already?
No.
So they just go off of a script and say it's rated R? They can give it a rating before.
No, they're basically
filming
what
it?
they're saying is they're gonna write the script now that they've gotten authority to allow it to be R.
They're saying you have the go ahead to make it nasty.
Yep.
Is that what they told them in the meeting? Go ahead and make
Probably.
it nasty.
I mean, you never know, man. I've been watching all these because the thing is so Disney has all these different.
That's what I tell the server at
Companies.
Applebee's. Go ahead and make it nasty.
You know what's funny is I asked them because when I was in Minnesota, the Chili's there. Oh no. The Chili's there had this whatchamacallit, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, the chicken crispers. But they were buffalo style. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they told me the Chili's here. They go, oh, just ask for them to toss it in buffalo stuff. So you could just tell them, make it nasty. So I'm super excited for the Deadpool. It's gonna be
Nasty.
after 10 if not tonight. Wow. Please call me ASAP. That's weird.
Did you get that text back from that weird thing that you were sending?
No text
Oh,
back.
I thought that's what you were reading.
No,
I thought that's why you
that's a
interrupted this
work that's a
podcast
work
with-
phone.
Okay.
But excited for Deadpool 3. I know that they'll do it justice, and now that they have Marvel's backing, they'll probably use characters less known, maybe to try and get them out there. Maybe not have them cuss. 'Cause that's the thing is, you could use the ones they've been using to curse and swear and do all that stuff, and then add a couple little lower level ones. So, yeah. So that's all I got. Make sure, like I said, follow us. Facebook.com/FOMOcast, Twitter, FOMO_cast, FOMO Podcast on Instagram. Make sure to go to Twitch and like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Search a FOMOcast. And for the FOMOcast.
Oh, can our new sign off be "Make it nasty"?
No, it can't be. It can't be. No, it can't be.
I quit.
I'm Chris,
I'm Andrew.
and we'll see you next time.